George Patton wasn't supposed to die in Germany. He survived North Africa, Sicily, the Battle of the Bulge, and the relentless march across Europe. He faced Rommel's tanks, Hitler's winter offensives, and countless moments where death should have claimed him. Yet, on December 9th, 1945, just months after VE Day, America's most fearsome general was paralyzed in a hunting accident that grows stranger the more you examine it. The morning began like any other. Patton and his chief of staff, Major General Hobart Gay, left headquarters in Bad Nauheim for a pheasant hunt near Mannheim. The war was over. Germany lay in ruins. Patton, commander of the 15th Army, a paper-shuffling post documenting lessons from the European campaign, was restless. He hunted, fished, and explored the German countryside in his 1938 Cadillac Model 75 limousine, trying to fill the void left by peace. Around 11:45 a.m., traveling on the Mannheim-Heidelberg Road, PFC Horace Woodring drove, while Patton and Gay scanned the roadside for game. Visibility was decent, traffic light. Nothing about the moment suggested catastrophe until a 2.5-ton Army truck, driven by Technical Sergeant Robert Thompson, suddenly turned into their path. The Cadillac, moving at about 35 miles per hour, collided glancingly with Thompson's slower truck. Witnesses described it as minor. The Cadillac's front crumpled moderately. The truck sustained side damage. Both vehicles remained intact. Yet, the consequences were anything but ordinary. Woodring braced against the wheel and walked away. Gay, sitting beside Patton, had only a small cut. Thompson and his passengers were unharmed. Everyone survived, except Patton. His voice from the back seat was quiet, terrifying. He couldn't move his arms or legs, paralyzed from the neck down. He remained conscious, coherent, and calm, telling Gay he'd struck his head on something, perhaps the roof strut, but the force that destroyed him seemed disproportionate to the collision. An ambulance arrived quickly. At the 130th Station Hospital in Heidelberg, doctors confirmed a cervical spinal injury at the 3rd and 4th vertebrae. Neurosurgeon Colonel Roy Glenn Sperling flew in from the U.S. to help. Initially, there was cautious optimism. Patton, 60 but robust, had survived worse. His wife, Beatrice, arrived December 14. For the first time in their marriage, Patton couldn't reach out and hold her hand. Doctors reported his condition as satisfactory, and Patton himself accepted his fate with calm resolve. But he also whispered doubts, paranoia. His wife assumed about the accident. Then, December 21 arrived. Patton struggled to breathe. His pulse thready, blood pressure dropping, pulmonary embolism. A clot had formed in his paralyzed legs and traveled to his lungs. Despite the medical team's efforts, he slipped in and out of consciousness. At 5:45 p.m., George Smith Patton Jr. was dead. Officially, pulmonary embolism and heart failure secondary, spinal injury. The medical explanation was clear, yet anomalies persisted. A low-speed, glancing crash left only Patton catastrophically injured. The Cadillac's interior offered no obvious surface to cause such trauma. Witnesses' accounts were inconsistent. Standard accident reports disappeared. The Cadillac was scrapped unusually fast. The truck was later retired. Key personnel, including the driver and hospital staff, became unavailable or silent. Whispers of something more began immediately. Patton's outspoken criticism of Soviet forces in occupied Europe had enraged Washington, embarrassed London, and alarmed Moscow. He advocated rearming Germans to counter the Red Army, warned of Stalin's expansion, and publicly undermined delicate diplomacy. Patton's voice was a threat politically, militarily, and strategically. In 1979, former OSS agent Douglas Bazata claimed he was ordered by OSS Chief William Donovan to orchestrate Patton's death. He described arranging the chest accident to appear accidental, a mission unverified but plausible given OSS operations during the war. Soviet sources later suggested the NKVD had considered Patton a threat, with access and opportunity to act. Investigative journalist Robert Wilcox traced intelligence activity around Patton's headquarters, documenting surveillance, missing records, and inconsistencies. Patton had been scheduled to return to the U.S. December 10 for public appearances and memoirs, a platform to reveal what he'd seen in Europe. Then came the hunting trip. Then, the accident. Whether American, Soviet, or a combination of interests orchestrated the event remains unknowable. Records vanished, witnesses were silenced or reassigned, and portions of Patton's medical file remain classified even in 2025. Patton survived 4 years of the deadliest conflict in human history, only to die 12 days before returning home in a minor traffic accident. The official story was tidy, clinical, but the timing, the circumstances, the anomalies, and the motives surrounding his death continued to fuel doubt. George Patton, warrior, survivor, and voice against Soviet expansion, was gone. The questions remain, and the sense that something doesn't add up has endured longer than the general himself.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.